Hello, my peeps. I'm real. I'm real as real can get. Hello, H. Hey, Debbie. I am. Hey, Poppy. Happy Friday to you, darling. Hey, I just want to say congratulations. H is going on a sports trip tomorrow, and hopefully Matthew gets to meet H there. I'm really excited for you, H. Congratulations, buddy. Everything that you've done is very commendable for the Special Olympics and for yourself. You should be very proud of yourself. So that's a wonderful thing. I wanted to put that out there. Also, I just kind of want to let you guys know kind of what happened yesterday. I stepped away for a minute, and I guess that Andrew had mentioned people going after his son or whatever. I do understand why people were making comments about his brother Ericon. I definitely didn't want it to go that direction. When I have someone on my panel, I like to show them, some respect is all. The live that I was doing had nothing to do with Ericon. Andrew does have his own channel. I know what Ericon did. I know how some people feel about it. I know how I felt about it. So please feel free to go to Andrew's channel and tell him how you feel about it. Okay? I don't have a problem with you doing that, and I'm sure Andrew wouldn't either. So I just wanted to put that out there, okay, to get it started. I'm coming out, so you better get this party started. I'm coming out. I'm coming. So today I wanted to go over again, and I have done this previously. Sloan Bella. Now, Sloan Bella is uh, I want to say she's like a psychic medium, and she is very well known. Her readings are very accurate, and she did one reading. Hey, Miss Governor, she did one reading on Summer Wells, and it was done on July 3rd, 2021. This was way before the boys were taken from the home. Okay. Now I'm going to show you what she looks like, but I'm going to, you will hear her, but you will not see her. Okay. I'm going to do it that way. I will be stopping it. We will be having conversations. Please feel free to converse on Summer's case, how you see fit in chat, but please dress your words up. That's all I ask, and that you have respect for each other in chat. That is how I roll over here. Okay. Let's give a couple minutes and see who may be popping in to say hello. Okay, I had to fix that. I do have my chat pulled up. I just want to check something here real quick. Really quickly. Really quickly. Wow, okay. Alrighty then. Okay, so like I said, this is Sloan Bella. And what I found so interesting with Sloan's reading, like I said, thank you, Debbie, for dropping that link. I do have the link to this particular video that Sloan did. I thought I was subbed to her. Why am I not subbed? I am now, Sloan. I am now. That's weird. I thought I was subbed to her. Okay. And you know, So, yes, it's 28 minutes long, a little over 28 minutes long. I will be stopping it. We will be talking about some of the things that she is saying. Like I said, this was done before the boys were taken from CPS. Now, it's okay with me if you do not believe in psychic mediums or whatever, right? Yeah, they must have Debbie because I've always been subbed up to Sloan Bella. But anyhow, that is okay with me. You do not have to come in and tell me that you don't believe in psychics. If you are, you know, not here to talk about today's topic, feel free to come back another day. So, all right, we're going to get into this, you guys. Here we go. Hopefully, you will be able to hear it. Here we go.
Wherever we hear it from, and then there's the energy behind what happened. And
okay, wait. I'm sorry. I'm gonna rewind that just a tad because I want you guys to hear what she's saying. Now she's channeling the energies, is what she's doing. Okay.
channeled missing child energetic video. So I wanted to explain this a little bit. I'm looking at the energy around the circumstance as it's presented publicly. So we present things in a public manner that we hear on the media, the news, wherever we hear it from. And then there's the energy behind what happened. And the veils of energy are very deep and layered in particular situations. Usually when somebody goes missing, it's not just a matter of they just disappeared poof off the planet. So the energy that I look into is kind of multifaceted, and I try to get through to the bottom of the circumstances that were going on at the time the person or the child went missing. That's what I mean by an energetic channeled video. In this particular case, I'm talking about little Summer Wells. Summer was 5 years old. She lived in Rogersville, Tennessee. And on June 15th, she was in the garden with her grandma and her mom. And I think they said she went in the house and then.
Okay. So we know that she wasn't in the garden, but that's the way, if you guys remember correctly, that is the way that it was kind of put out. People thought that they were talking about planting flowers in some sort of flower garden, right? So I'm sure that's probably where she perceived that, I want to say.
Then she was never seen from again. Now, I read up a bit, and as far as you guys introduced me to this little girl missing, I don't watch the news, so on one of my lives, you guys were talking about her, and the family of Little Summers is very interesting because it would be very easy to blame the family given their past discrepancies with.
This is very important, what she is saying. That is very true. It was very easy for us to blame the family because of their past discrepancies. So that was really interesting when she said that. And like she said, people were mentioning Summer in her chat and talking about it. And that is why she channeled this reading of energies.
The domestic violence issues on the father's part, the mother's part, all of that. It would be very easy to sort of put the focus on the parents, but immediately and right off the bat, I don't feel this was an abduction by the parents in any way, shape, or form.
She doesn't feel that it was an abduction by the parents. Okay. So that says to me that she doesn't believe that Dawn or Candace, either one, abducted Summer in some way, right? What's it mean to you guys that that Dawn and Candace didn't make that happen? is kind of what it says, but you guys, you're going to have your own opinions on this, and please feel free to come in and tell me what your feelings and what you're thinking about some of these statements that she is saying.
So Summer's parents are probably enduring some kind of hell at the moment with their daughter missing. And I'm aware that she has 3 siblings, I believe 3 brothers.
The boys had not been taken by CPS. They had not been removed by CPS yet. Now, we can look at the behavior of Summer's parents and we can say, okay, well, they were getting wasted because of guilty knowledge. But we have to look at it too that these were 2 parents who definitely did. I'm not going to say does now. I don't know anything about what Don and Candace are doing right now. They already had addiction problems. And when Summer went missing, they fell deeper into those addictions. They came on social media and showed us their behavior. So there's 2 different ways you can possibly look at that.
Now, here is what I got, because it's very, very layered, like an onion. You just keep peeling back things, and the energy is very, very layered. I'm going to go to Summer's mother's side of the family first and foremost, because that side of the family has what I will call a familiar pattern that's been handed on down of.
This is interesting. A familiar pattern that was handed down of dysfunction. She's talking about Candace's side of the family. Okay. We also know that within that family unit, right? I forgot what I was going to say. It'll come back to me. I promise. I do this all the time. Don't worry about it.
Dysfunction throughout the family, throughout the family, throughout the family. The family on her mother's side has a lot of energy spores that have been stuck on the family's name or the children within the family. And I'm talking before Summer's mother was born, and I'm talking to the great-grandparents and on down. There seems to be some sort of a dysfunctional, I'll use the word balance, that's being played out within the context of this family. And it's continued to roll on down, which is very interesting. It's not interesting for the mother, but when you look at the energy of it, there are so many convoluted aspects to this that it would be very hard for anybody to figure out what happened, because it's a set of circumstances like dominoes or Jenga. When you put them all together like this and they go into a pile and then you pull one out and either it falls or continues. In her mother's case, this continued on down. And
you guys understand what she's saying here, right? Do you understand what she is saying? There's been a level of dysfunctional energy on Candace's side of the family for many, many years, up into great grandma, things like that. Now, is she talking about addictions that were passed down throughout the family? Is she speaking of DV? Is she speaking of maybe some sort of neglect or, sexual abuses? I'm not real sure.
I would almost say that there's energetic tags stuck to the family's energy in kind of in the area of dysfunction. So it was not able to be cleared. Nobody was doing the full healing on the way down the line in that family. As I'm saying this, it's a very interesting thing because with the lack of, quote, focused healing in a family trauma or event or energy thrown at a family because of a different circumstance. I don't know anything about the background of Summer's mother's family. I don't know like their religious affiliation, but I do get, because the family at some point, and it's probably 4 generations before Summer's mother was born, so it would be her 3 grandparents back from her being born, 4 from Summers, great grandparents, and on. I feel the family separated from a family, I'll put the word religion or family ideology, and this is what started the breakage of the family. So there have been karmic balances, and this happened with Summer's mother disappearing. This is not a...
Now, she meant Rose Bly disappearing. So, what are you guys getting? Hey, Kim, what are you guys kind of getting what she's saying so far? She's talking about generational dysfunctions. She's talking about circumstances. Now, we can get into things happening through circumstance. There's a whole big teachable thing, a lot of information about circumstance, different circumstances just coming together at different points. And I'll get into a little bit of that here pretty soon. I kind of just want to stay with the reading right at the moment.
Coincidence. By the way, the energy around this, now I'm looking at energy, not like specific people at this point, but the energy around this has continued on down. Now, as I started to focus on Summer, the first energy that I got from her is she was extremely fun, and she was what I would call a precocious child. She loved to have fun. She loved to play. I see her liking to put her boots on. This has something to do with the day that she disappeared. I feel she knows the person that she went with. I feel she went close enough to this person to get abducted, meaning she went over to a car, over to a truck. I actually see a truck, and I see a truck.
Now, this is interesting, okay? Now, what did they tell us over and over? Summer would not have went to a stranger. Summer would not have went with a stranger. They have all said that. Then, here recently, we got Marlena Crawford, who decides that she's going to come out on YouTube after, all this time. And basically, what does she say? Summer would have came to her, right? Now, look, I ain't saying Marlena's guilty of anything. I don't have a freaking clue. I don't know Marlena. I don't, nothing personal. I don't think that she would be a person that I would be associated with. So I am not saying that to make Marlena feel guilty of anything. But that is what Marlena said. Summer wouldn't go with a stranger, right? You're right. It didn't have to be a stranger.
With like a handyman.
My name is Cecilia.
Hold on, she got a commercial. She got a commercial. And she's talking energy here, you guys, okay? She is talking energy. Now, what does circumstance mean? Now, a circumstance is a fact or condition connected or relevant to an event or action, right? It's a condition, fact, or event accompanying, conditioning, or determining another, right? So, and she used the example of like Jenga, right? But it gets into a lot, when you get into circumstances basically lining up, like Kim says, perfect storm. Jody even used that term, perfect storm, right? We would like to think of our children would not go with a stranger. Absolutely, but we have seen it happen. We have seen it happen. Hey, Mishu. I can't believe the more time that goes by, the less I'm blaming the Wells. Well, I've always said over here on this channel, I cannot prove somebody guilty. They're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. I can truly say that did not happen with the Wells at all, because of their actions, because of what they were showing us of their lives. And when they did that, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, this is how I felt. When they did that, what the first thing I thought was, if these people do not have a problem coming out on social media platforms and showing us their addictions and uh, uh, deviant actions, whatever you want to call it, it automatically made me think, if they're showing us this, what were they not showing us? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? If they so freely come on a social media platform and did the things they did, said the things they did, acted the way they did, um, you know, I had to question, how was their behavior away from everybody, right? Uh, well, a lot of people feel that way, Mishu, that Dawn and Candace couldn't have figured out how to do whatever happened to Summer on their own. So I believe they think it's normal behavior, not saying it's right, sheer ignorance. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, hang on a minute. Sorry, Sloan. Sorry, Sloan Bella.
Abducted, meaning she went over to a car, over to a truck. I actually see a truck, and I see a truck with like a handyman things on the back. I don't know if that means a ladder or tools or paint buckets, but it's interesting. The driver of the truck, I feel, is different from the person who abducted her, who I feel.
So, what she is saying, and I know a lot of people were like, oh, law enforcement said they were looking for the truck with the handyman stuff on it. I'm not going to say Sloan did not hear that or see that. I cannot do that. I am not her. What is interesting is her placing individuals into different circumstances, right? So, um, let me play this part one more time. And what I want people to kind of, pay attention to is the description of who she is seeing through the energies that possibly did abduct her. Now, the thing about this is, Kim, I had a question earlier and I forgot to write it down. Usually I write all my question down. What time, and anybody can answer this, please. What time did the tree trimmers actually leave that day? I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't remember. So, and I can't remember why I was asking myself that, but I did. I do not think anybody knows for sure what. Are you talking about Chad Arnold? I don't think, I don't know. I know that, he allegedly was sitting in a truck when Candace went to look for Summer. Now, I mean, look, they can say that Candace contacted so and so at 4 o'clock, 4:30, or whatever. I've always felt, I have always felt that Summer got gone basically around that time. Around that time. We know Candace got home allegedly around 3:19 or something like that, right? So anytime after that, anytime after that, uh, yeah, 3:30, 4 o'clock, right, right. But you have to remember that the tree trimmers, from my understanding, they all came to the location together, and then they would drive back to a certain location to get into their vehicles. So, if someone was missing out of that crew, they would have known it, right? In past feral arrests, we saw the evidence. In Summer's case, there was none. Yes, yes. It did become a lot about money. It really did. And that's one thing that I've always tried to push off to the side. I know a lot of people don't. I know a lot of people think, oh my God, these people scam people for money using Summer's name. They had something to do with it. That's not really true, okay? Because a lot of people were trying to raise money and things for Summer's Reward Fund out of the kindness of their heart. And what I seen happen is, um, it started out being, like I said, out of the kindness out of somebody's heart who may not have known the maybe in and outer workings of, raising money for something like this. And I do believe that a lot of people got taken advantage in the long run about that. I have always felt that way. So I have to take that and I put that to the side. That's just me. You guys don't have to do it that way, but absolutely, for real.
On the back. I don't know if that means a ladder or tools or paint buckets, but it's interesting. The driver of the truck, I feel, is different from the person who abducted her, who I feel is different from the person who orchestrated it.
So this is interesting that she says it this way. And I took it as this. One person, she is saying was an individual who maybe got Summer down the hill, okay? Or Summer possibly went down to the road herself, and this person is passed off. She is passed off to someone else who is also different from the person who orchestrated all of this to start with. So what she ends up saying is there's like 3 different individuals. And could it happen from circumstance? Could all these circumstances have come together? Could this have been orchestrated a while before and the opportunity came to play out what had been orchestrated by a certain individual to start with? A perfect storm is how Jody said it. Perfect storm. So I just want you guys to please just keep an open mind on this, you guys.
means a ladder or tools or paint buckets. But it's interesting. The driver of the truck, I feel, is different from the person who abducted her, who I feel is different from the person who orchestrated it. So I'm getting like a lineage of 3 different people. So I feel that it's very, very enmeshed with different groups of people. Now, the dysfunction within this family stemmed from both sides. I mean, that's most people, most human beings. But in Summer's case, she was very free and easygoing. She's a child. She's 5. She liked to wear these little boots, and she liked to go down. I'll use the word like a pond. Where I grew up, they have ponds. It's not the ocean. It's like where tadpoles live and frogs live. She kind of liked this thing. She was a little.
Now, we have always been led to believe what? What have we always been led to believe that we never questioned? Did anybody ever question being told that Summer had no shoes on, that Summer was barefooted? That's what I've always been led to believe. Did that come into question by a lot of people? Right? You know, yeah, I mean, we can get into that too, the land. But the thing about it is, why would someone take a child over land? Over land. What would taking Summer benefit anybody who was wanting the land? From my understanding, Mishu, there were shoes all over the hill. The kids would just kick their shoes off everywhere. So where did Jody say she got in the water? She got into the creek. Jody got into the creek. I can pull back up the area that Don Wells and weirdo Tim Mullins videoed that area, right? But this is weird too, because didn't that Brandon Clark guy take JLR back there? Wasn't there a pond back there? They searched the ponds in that area, though. They absolutely went in and searched, divers searched the ponds in that area, right? Yeah, a lot of animosity. I absolutely get that, Mishu. Um, I've always wondered why Candace decided she didn't want to move to Utah. What kept her in that area? If Dawn could really go to Utah and get a good job, get their shit together, the possibility that the family, could have thrived in that instance, that could be a good possibility, but Candace didn't want to. Candace decided she didn't want to go to Utah. Well, Candace had put Candace had put out that they were going to sell the property, right? Yes, Jody Supes, she was interested in it, and then Candace changed her mind. I mean, does that piss people off? Absolutely, but I mean, it's a really, I mean, whoever took Summer is a messed up individual, but someone to actually take her because of the land, I don't know, you guys. I can't see that, but it could be a possibility because we don't know, right? Yeah, well, and you guys have to remember, now, Mary talked about Dawn being there. Dawn, she said Dawn got angry when the oldest boy went into Grandpa's house and was watching TV because they lived out in a camper in the driveway. So Dawn got really angry about that and told him he wasn't supposed to be going into his grandpa's house, which I thought was strange. But also, Dawn had gotten into a argument with his dad. Dawn wanted his dad's house. Allegedly. There was a big skidoo about it, and they say that is why Dawn left Utah when he did. That and this is just, I'll say it's all hearsay, but Dawn allegedly left Utah so pissed off that he was. Don't forget, Dawn said he was driving 120 mile an hour. Dawn said he got pulled over by a cop, and he's like, my wife's cheating on me, and giving the cop a big to-do story. He says the cop was like, okay, Mr. Wells, you go on now. Go on, right? Um, and then he gets home. The thing that got me about that, I was like, you said you had your child in the car. You're telling us you were driving recklessly on an interstate with your child. I don't think anybody looked at that, you know. Neighbors didn't want the wells there. That's what Don told me. He is scared someone will burn it down. Well, I don't know, Mishu. I don't know. I mean, if you've had conversations with Don Wells, more power to you. Wells were considered outsiders, so maybe. Why would they take Summer? Why would they take Summer? Hey, screen name. Don Sherfy Sr. thought he should get the property that No, Don Sherfy Sr. did not think that he should get the property that Don and Candace got. Don Sherfy Sr. was Mary, what was her last name? She was actually related to Don's stepdad. She was related to Don's stepdad. Sherfy Sr. was not related to that was his girlfriend. His girlfriend's mom was Don's stepdad's sister. From what we heard, she was supposed to have received a piece of that land or something. So that part is true. But no, Don Sherfy Sr. wouldn't have had any right to that land anyway. So we're going to take that statement and switch it up. Okay? Because you put in my chat that Don Sherfy Sr. was supposed to get that and wanted it. Now, could he have wanted it? Sure. Could everybody in Beach Creek wanted that property? Sure.
A little bit of a tomboy. She liked to get dirty. She liked to play like that. She was very physical and fun, and she laughed a lot. She giggled.
Do you guys think that Summer had a pair of boots that she would throw on when she went down to that area, down to the creek area? I'm going to pull that up again, you guys, just because I'm in one of those moods today. And please, 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 you guys, try to make sure that what you put in chat we know as factual information. That's one thing I've always asked in Summer's case is to please make sure that what we put out is, or let me put it this way. If it's hearsay, please put an H or whatever. Please say that it's hearsay. If it's your opinion, please, this one time, put it in your opinion. If it's your theory, put it your theory. One time y'all do that for me, okay? Let's get out, let's try to put out the most correct information we can. Well, I mean, maybe we never seen her in the boots, because did anyone ever see a picture of Summer down around the bottom area of that property? This is a good question. Has anybody ever seen a picture of Summer down at the bottom area of that property? Oh, yeah, Clyde Trent. Yes, thank you, Casey. Clyde Trent had the quick deed. She did a quick claim deed with Dawn, but that was through Clyde Trent. Clyde, I can't even say her name. Clyde Trent was the person named on that property deed. She basically sold it to Dawn, thank you, Lives, for $10, with the stipulation, from my understanding, that Dawn had to be married. Am I wrong about that? I can't remember if there's actual receipts that say Dawn has to be married. I do know that there is an interview with Clyde Trent. Let me get my notes out here. I have talked about Clyde Trent before. And I'll tell you guys what, someday with the RC rent a car for a couple days fund, I am going to go to a couple of places here in my state that have piqued my curiosity, that have been mentioned more than a lot. So, what? Why? No, don't mention other creators in chat, okay? Don't do that. I do not want to talk about the WCIA lady, okay? I don't. If he fucks up with the quick claim, it goes back to Clyde. Don Jr. was put on the deed, but Don is the junior. Yes. Yeah, Don is the junior. You're right. You're right. Mishu never asked her anything. Yeah, Mishu's very opinionated today. She is. What the freak was I looking for? What are you looking for? Because this has always been something that I have held to high regards, is the video that hey, Mr. A, loves you. The video that Dawn did with Tim Mullins. Now, like I said, even though the area is oh shoot, I can't show you that while I'm okay, we're gonna go over that, but I want to get through Stone Bella real quick. But yes, Clyde Trent, Dawn's mom, signed the property over to Clyde Trent when she passed away. Clyde Trent quick deeded to Dawn for like Casey said, $10, right? And with the stipulation that Dawn had to be married. So, and you know, Dawn has to keep up on the property taxes and all of that stuff, because if Dawn ever messes up, it does, well, allegedly, and I'll say that. Thank you for putting allegedly, Casey, but goes back to Clyda. Goes back to Clyda Trent. So to give to Dawn when and if he could show he was mature enough to keep the land. Yeah, that's, obviously everybody said Don spent all of his money on substances, but he kept up the property taxes, right? The land was never in question of being taken away from him. Hey, exploited. I just got out of it. Oh, okay. Well, I hope you're having a good day too. Okay, here we go. The boots comment interested me, okay? The boots comment. Because, I mean, we have been, yeah, right, Danny. We've always assumed Summer didn't have any shoes on. Hey, Lips, since you're in here, let me ask you this. Have you ever seen a picture of Summer down at the bottom of the property or out on the road or anything, right? Has anybody ever seen a picture? Inquiring minds want to know.
In this family stemmed from both sides. I mean, that's most people, most human beings. But in Summer's case, she was very free and easygoing. She's a child. She's 5. She liked to wear these little boots, and she liked to go down. I'll use the word like a pond. Where I grew up, they have ponds. It's not the ocean. It's like where tadpoles live and frogs live. She kind of liked this thing. She was a little bit of a tomboy. She liked to get dirty. She liked to play like that.
And Sloan Bella did not know of the area. She didn't study the area at all.
She was very physical and fun, and she laughed a lot. She giggled a lot. And then she was also very observant and very well aware of boundaries that she needed to avoid. This is what I get. So she, to me, was going to end up being a psychic child. When I use that.
Okay. What she means, this is what I think that she means when she says that Summer was observant. And I'm going to rewind that. I want to observant and very well aware. I tend to believe that. I remember when I did my writing The Appalachian Princess that I can't remember if I actually put it in the writing, but I was looking at pictures of Summer, and I'll have to pull one up. I'll pull a pic of Summer up here in a minute. There's one picture that I look at where she's looking right into the camera, and it's like it's like looking into the eyes of an old soul. Even though she was 5 years old, it just seemed to me like, and I'm hoping what Sloan Bella is saying is that Summer knew when, very aware of possibly individuals she should keep her distance from, different things like that. Does that make sense? She stayed at the top of the hill. That's what they keep saying. She stayed at the top of the hill. Now, Sherfy Sr., if I remember correctly, Sherfy Sr. actually was saying that the boys and Summer was down in the road quite a bit. So, do we believe what Sherfy Sr. says? Look how quickly and I'm going to say quickly because I do think that Summer went missing more around the 3:30, 4 o'clock time. I really do. Jody never talks about seeing Summer either. Yeah, it was always the boys. Yeah, yeah. Jody talked about the boys sneaking in and eating her food, and different things like that. Basically said there was never any food over there and things like that. But, what we got to remember is even though Jody was the neighbor, she did not live there. She did not live there. I'm not going to say what Jody has told us is not the truth. I do not live in that area. I am not Jody Sue Brown, so I'm not going to set on my end and say that she is not telling the truth. I do not know. So, yeah. Okay. So, Sloan Bella is saying that Summer was also very observant and very aware. Now, I'm going to tell you, when she talks about the little boots, that clicks with me, you guys. Even though I'm sure Summer could run around all different kinds of areas, I don't see her getting very far in that environment without shoes on. The only way I think she would have gotten too far away that even by the time the searchers couldn't find her was someone somehow transported her out of that area. That's the only way.
Aware of boundaries that she needed to avoid. This is what I get. So she, to me, was going to end up being a psychic child. When I use that term, I'm using the term for a child that grows up in a house that's somewhat dysfunctional with a lot of adult concepts introduced early on in life.
Do you guys hear what she's saying? I believe she is spot on. Summer was introduced to adult situations very early on. And I agree with her.
I'm using the term for a child that grows up in a house that's somewhat dysfunctional with a lot of adult concepts introduced early on in life. So I see
adult concepts introduced early on in life. We'll talk about the footprints, Kim. Let me write it down. I will pull up the site where I know law enforcement talks about the footprints. If I remember, there's a law enforcement site I will go to, and they actually speak about the footprints. But let me get through this, and then I will. I'm writing things down, you guys, and when I'm done showing you Sloan's reading and talking about it, we'll pull these things up. Okay, we're gonna pull them up and see if we can find what factual information we can about it. Okay? Sound good?
See this with Summer. I see this with her energy. What I do see, and it's very interesting, somebody took her down to a pond or a stream. I can't see if it's a round pond or if it's actually a stream. What I can see, or the image I got in my head, was of green leafy, and it always reminds me of corn dogs on a stick, bulrush. You know the bulrushes, for those that live near ponds, the plants that come up and they have the brown end on the top, and it's like a swampy.
Now the thing about it is the creek area didn't have those, right? They didn't have any of those down by the creek, right? So was that just in a pond area, Were those growing by the creek? Oh my gosh, I gotta write that down. Bulrush growing by the creek. Because, oh man, all right, I'm finding that out. Oh shit, my pen just went out. Are you kidding? Hold on, I gotta get another pen. Okay. That's interesting. That is interesting. She never made it home. If she did, it was to drop grandma off, kind of left with Summer. I believe they made it home. If they didn't, the boys wouldn't have seen her. And I do believe the boys seen her that day. Law enforcement even says the boys seen her that day. So, I think about that. Yeah, yes, I would have thought that if that transpired, that the boys would have told law enforcement that Summer didn't come home that day. And if Candace had to give them an excuse, they would have told law enforcement, Mom told us Summer didn't come home because she was here or she was there, right? From my understanding, there wasn't a get together, Danny. What happened is the night before, this is my understanding, the night before, law enforcement had came because of what's his name? What's his name? Nobody knows. Jackie Dobbs. Okay. And so everybody had kind of gathered to bullshit about that. That's from my understanding, that's what I remember, but I wasn't there. I could be wrong, but I don't know if I've ever really seen any facts on that. I mean, look, we were even told the story that at one time the Wells had a sign, hey, Nana for Life, had a sign that was basically, it basically had the price of different, doing the deed type, type things. You know what I mean. It had a price for things that the ladies of the night do. I don't know if that's true, but I heard it. I heard it. I mean, we even heard a story of a woman without, trigger warning, without any clothes on, that allegedly Candace had went and paid for her services the night before. Allegedly, Dawn and Candace got the girl up there, got her without no clothes on, made sure her wrists were together, if you know what I mean. Was doing, messed up stuff to the girl, and the girl freaks out and runs down without no clothes on, runs down that messed up driveway at 110 Ben Hill Road, and she running down the road, and lo and behold, Cotton Simpson saves her, and he takes her home and gives her some clothes, okay? And what else did I hear about that? Oh yeah, allegedly Cotton was like, I didn't want my girlfriend to find out, because I didn't want her to think that I was the one who did it. Now, that's all a fucking story. There ain't nobody knows if that's true, but from my understanding, there were individuals on a phone that actually, I don't know, but that is hearsay, right? Well, we've heard that Rose Bly was up on the hill. We heard that Candace allegedly said she was Rose. I mean, this is all hearsay. This is all hearsay. So I'm not saying it's a fact. I'm not saying it's fiction. That's not what I do. Debbie said, Lord, the red barrel with the for sale written on it. Oh my gosh. I've got to find it. I have to find where Ernie Shell tells us what the red barrel means, what the for sale sign means, what dancing in the rain means. Actually, I'm going to write that down. Ernie and the barrel. I need to pull up my freaking notes, but I got so many of them. Okay. So that was a story. I mean, interesting. Okay, so she's talking about the pond. So the only close pond to me was the one that Brandon Clark showed, right? Let me write that. Hold on, I gotta write that down. The pond that Brandon tells JLR about. And don't forget, if I remember correctly, Brandon Clark said something about the law enforcement being back in that area. Remember? Because he was talking about the porta-johns out there. So he pretty much said that he had talked to law enforcement. So that is very interesting too. And I mean, okay, so then you want to bring Brandon's name up. Well, Fred says, if I remember correctly, and Kurse could probably tell me for sure or not, that he's seen Brandon standing out by his mailbox at like 8 o'clock in the morning. That always stood out to me. That's freaking weird, isn't it? Right? Brandon was following the creek. He went all through there. I'm gonna pull that up. I'm writing down, you guys, I'm writing down all of this. So I've got Clyde Trent, the footprints, the bull rush by the pond, and compared to the creek area, Ernie and the red barrel. I've got that so far. And we're gonna see if we can pull up the receipts on where this stuff is coming from. We have to get back to the, and I know there's not much, but factual stuff. Now, are we going to talk about hearsay? Absolutely, because a lot of the stories that we've gotten that are hearsay, they're fascinating. They are fascinating. I mean, Don Wells told us so many stories. Do you guys remember when he talked about dealing Coca-Cola for the cartel? And he was going through Utah or something, and he was hallucinating. He was hallucinating. He thought that people were coming for him. He talked about that. He also said that he has always had a problem with Coca-Cola. He admitted to that. Hey, Dee Dee, how are you? Okay.
rush. You know, the bulrushes, for those that live near ponds, the plants that come up and they have the brown end on the top, and it's like it's like a swampy bulrushy, but it's more an East Coast type of a thing. So I get.
You know what, too, came to my mind? I love to fish for bass in those areas. I love to go to those areas and do some bass fishing. I don't know. I always just thought bulrush was a sign for me.
The connection like that, the swamp, the pond. Anyway, I feel like she wanted to play like that. I do feel like she was summoned out of her house. This was an error in her judgment. She's 5, but for some reason, the person that summoned her, she knew this person, okay?
So, Sloan Bella is saying, yes, Summer was lured out of the house. I believe that she did go out the back door to go around to her swing. I do believe that. Or, you know, she could have been out front messing around and went to go to her swing and somebody caught her attention. Somebody caught her attention. I love to fish. I really do. I am going to do a lot of fishing this season. I am over it. I am going to start doing things that I always loved to do that I haven't got to do for a while. Unfortunately, I can't shoot my bow anymore. I never did that a whole lot. I wasn't into it like Chad and Todd and everybody else was. You know what's cool about that is Todd and Chad both won the worlds in their division in the same year, on the same day. That is something always will be remembered. That was so cool when that happened. Okay, so Sloan is saying that someone lured her down. Lured her down.
Now, here's what's interesting. I kind of cross over when I'm seeing that. So it's like the images kind of fold over. I see her 3 siblings, and I'm not sure how old her oldest brother is, but this is somebody that's like her oldest brother. This is somebody who is either acquainted with her oldest brother, familiar with the family, connected through the oldest brother. This could be school, after school program, baseball, basketball, scootering, dirt bike riding, whatever it is. I get a connection. So this is somebody that has communicated with Summer's oldest sibling.
Okay, what do you guys think about that? It would have had to have been somebody who was familiar with the area enough to know where to be at to get Summer's attention, right? Well, Bella, the flute guy, there's a lot of things about that guy I've talked about before. His name is David Dotson. We'll get into him a little bit too. I wrote his name down. A lot of interesting things about David Dotson. He wasn't a member of the church. He had just started going to the church really soon before Summer went missing. And I don't know how he became such a recognizable person as far as the church. Do you guys remember there was a picture taken? No, it was, or was it audio? Of David Dotson in church, and Robin was sitting there with Summer. Now, I'm going to write that down. because I want to know who took that picture. We have to look at that also. Why just out of the blue is some guy taking a picture of David Dotson, Robin Lane, and Summer? I thought it was strange. I don't know, Danny. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that Dawn didn't buy stuff for the boys. They all had little riding bikes, right? But what's that? I mean, does it matter who gave him the riding outfit? Unless you think maybe, who do you think gave it to him? Who do you think gave it to him? I guess that's the question. Who do you think gave it to him, Danny? Okay, so I am going to rewind this a little bit more. Okay, I've been on here almost an hour and 15 minutes. Okay.
Old her oldest brother is, but this is somebody that's like her oldest brother. This is somebody who is either acquainted with her oldest brother, familiar with the family, connected through the oldest brother. This could be school, after school program, baseball, basketball, scootering, dirt bike riding, whatever.
And what kind of activities did any of the boys go to at the school? Hey, Mrs. T. Does anybody know any activities the boys went through the school? I don't expect anybody to know that. You probably wouldn't. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Now I get you, Danny. I get you. Yes. But I never heard Jody or Allie saying that they passed the outfit down to the boys. I never heard that, right? You think you... Well, I mean, it's your opinion, so make sure that you put it's your opinion, Pink Lotus. For sure. That's all I ask. Please put your opinion, your theory, you think, I feel. You guys know how to do it. That makes a big difference because I must say the opinions of this channel is not necessarily the opinions of others. You heard it on a live? Okay, so, but I think, look how small it was. But I see where you went with that, Danny. I absolutely see where you went with it. I'm not sure where to put that. Okay. So, all right. Hang on a minute, guys. Okay. Let's then we'll go back to where she talks about it. But then again, you guys, you have to remember, are we thinking about somebody who was the oldest boy's friend, Or are we thinking about maybe individuals who was the oldest boy's friends, but then where do we put that with a lot of those boys, it seems like, allegedly was more there to hang out with Candace? Let's put it that way. So we don't know who was friends with the oldest boy. We know of these older boys, but we're associating them with Candace. Does that make sense? Hey, little Deb, does that make sense?
Just kind of fold over. I see her 3 siblings, and I'm not sure how old her oldest brother is, but this is somebody that's like her oldest brother. This is somebody who is either acquainted with her oldest brother, familiar with the family, connected through the oldest brother. This could be school, after school program, baseball, basketball, scootering,
the church. We know that David Dotson took the boys to play golf, putt-putt golf, after Summer went missing. I have his interview. Let me write that down. We're just going to start out with the meat and potatoes of all this, you guys. Well, we have to assume that, yes, Jody's son probably did hang out over there and probably did hang out with the oldest boy, right? Family friend, maybe, but no relation to school. I've not heard of them ever bringing kids home from school. No, there seemed to be a problem with that going on. Do you guys remember when a law enforcement report showed that there was a kid up on the hill, and I think it was to see the oldest boy, but his parents wanted to pick him up, right? Pick him up, and Candace wouldn't give them the address, and they called the police. Do you guys remember that? Now, there are receipts to that. I think you can find it somewhere on JLR's. But absolutely, there was that call where the family called law enforcement and said, she won't give us the address to come and pick up our son. That was one. The other one was when Allie called law enforcement because the kids were up there and her and Candace got into that big ass fight over Jose and the chicks with wankers. And yeah, so
dirt bike riding, whatever it is, I get a connection. So this is somebody that has communicated with Summer's oldest sibling. Then I flash over to the picture of Summer in the paper where she had her head shaved because of lice. Now, any of you that have little kids, myself included, when I had my little kids, there was...
And okay, hey Diamonds, absolutely, Summer had lice. Okay, I truly believe Summer had lice. But, and I think Sloan Bella explains it this way. Yeah, Summer had lice, but when whoever shaved her head was doing it for something besides the lice? And let's see if she explains it better than I can.
There was always a lice scare, even in the city, even in Burbank. Lice scare. The school's calling your home saying,
"Hey, Debbie, won't you be my neighbor?"
somebody came to school with lice, and then all the moms are freaking out. Me, I'm looking through the kid's hair going, do I really want to shave the kid's head? Probably not. So I'm just going to put some whatever deters lice in their shampoo and just try to do it that way. But then I would get creeped out and wash all the bed sheets. So the lice scare is a real thing. In this particular instance with Summer, I get this a little bit differently. I see immediately with the shaving of the head, power and control. She was being prepared for something. Now,
working with a registered dietitian can be a game changer in achieving your goals. Here's what you unlock through Faye. Most clients pay $0 per session. One-to-one personalized plans for you. Faye works with Anthem, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Aetna, Cigna, plus 700 more plans.
What do I mean by that? Let's say you have a child, this is hypothetical. Let's say you have a child and you do a lot of drugs. Drugs where you smoke and light a pipe, right? So your mind, you got a room full of people, you got a house full of people, you kind of float off because you're really high, so you get out of your energy field, you're not focused on what's around you, you're just enjoying the high, it feels euphoric. So you're choosing not to see why your child is being prepared. You're choosing to not see it because it's triggering something in you that you haven't.
Hey, you guys, hang on just a second. Sorry, you guys, I was talking to my son for a minute. If Summer had lights, why wasn't the boys? Their hair was cut. They said she got a hold of the shears. Yeah, license school is the freaking worst. What? Summer oldest sibling includes Dawn's other. No, well, I think she's specifically talking about the three boys, Pink Lotus. I don't think she's talking about Dawn's other children. She does know that the three boys were there, the siblings were there. So, but I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I have to rewind this a little bit, you guys. I am so sorry. Chad was talking to me, and I turned around and looked, and there was a stupid commercial on. Okay, here we go.
Deters lice in their shampoo and just try to do it that way. But then I would get creeped out and wash all the bed sheets. So the lice scare is a real thing. In this particular instance with Summer, I get this a little bit differently. I see immediately with the shaving of the head, power and control.
Okay, so see, she started talking about the lice. But with Summer, she's seeing it a little differently. The shaving of the head, she feels, was something that was more about power and control. Okay.
Even in the city, even in Burbank, lice scare, the school's calling your home saying somebody came to school with lice, and then all the moms are freaking out. Me, I'm looking through the kid's hair going, do I really want to shave the kid's head? Probably not, so I'm just going to put some whatever deters lice in their shampoo and just try to do it that way. But then I would get creeped out and wash all the bed sheets. So the lice scare is a real thing. In this particular instance with Summer, I get this a little bit differently. I see immediately with the shaving of the head, power and control. She was being prepared for something. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's say you have a child. This is hypothetical. Let's say you have a child and you do a lot of drugs. Drugs where you smoke and light a pipe, right? So your mind, you got a room full of people, you got a house full of people, you kind of float off because you're really high, so you get out of your energy field, you're not focused on what's around you, you're just enjoying the high, it feels euphoric, so you're choosing not to see why your child is being prepared. Do
you understand what she's saying? Now, I mean, you can definitely strongly disagree with it. I do believe the Summer had lice. But think about it. Why? And what she's saying is it was chose not to even look at the situation. You're not even paying it any mind. Yeah, turning a blind eye. Exactly. Turning a blind eye to it. And you never know. It could be that, someone was like, you got this lice, she's got this lice, you ain't getting rid of it. I'm going to shave her head, and there ain't nothing you're going to do about it. I could maybe see that with, do you think Grandma would do that? Do you think Grandma would be at a point where the lice was so much that she was like, I'm shaving it? I don't know. I mean, just different things to think about. But why? And that answer, listen to this. In the first interview that Dawn and Candace did, talking about Summer's hair, there was 4 different stories, right? There was all these reasons that Summer got her head shaved. Why? Why? Lice isn't a big deal. But do you think that they didn't come out and say that it was lice because Candace was just trying to maintain and Dawn was trying to help her out to make people think that she was this, suitable mother, right? Still catching up, but at the part where she's telling about the cattails at the pond, I know Fred Hill was saying to Ziggy when she was at KG that there was a pond up on the hill he liked fishing at. I wonder if that was the one, because I know there was one behind the church somewhere, right? That's the one the diver went to, and allegedly Frank Light was back there maintaining the area back there, and got upset with this diver who was coming in to search the pond for Summer again. Now, I have to say that's allegedly. I can't remember. Something else that was weird, right? is Donna Serafina. Somewhere throughout all this time talking about Summer, she gets a phone call from a diver. I don't think his name is ever said. I don't remember. What I remember of it was the guy saying that there's like a bridge about 15 minutes, maybe less, from Ben Hill, and that below this river was some sort of box or something. And he talked about that law enforcement wasn't interested to see what it was. And I don't know why the guy even contacted Reverend Donna Serafina. Um, he is on YouTube. Do you remember his name, Mrs. T? Um, but anyhow, I never heard any more about that. So I don't know. I don't know. You get the cattails closer to the fall. I think they were trying to hide severe neglect. They made up a bunch of stuff to cover. Well, this is a thing. This is just my opinion. Dawn and Candace, even if there wasn't severe neglect, even if it was just, no, I don't want to put it that way because, neglect is neglect. I still think that they wanted to make Candace look like a good mother so they wouldn't lose the boys. Do you guys remember when they went to court? Dawn came right out and talked to WJHL, I think it was. They inquired about Candace, and he said, she's not happy right now. Dawn willingly just comes out and talks about losing these boys. Yeah, she's real upset right now about it. That never quite made any sense to me. I've always wondered why. It just seemed to me once Dawn lost the boys, he didn't want them back. That's my opinion. He didn't do anything that they wanted him to do to make it right with those boys. So then all of a sudden, CPS kidnapped him, is what he kept saying. He says CPS took the boys because it was dangerous for them up on the hill. I can see where they felt it was dangerous up on the hill. If you got weird ass people creeping up that hill, I don't know if I would have wanted to stay there at all. But Don at times would take accountability for his substance problems. He said, I started doing things I shouldn't have been doing after Summer went missing. Now, we can look at that as, yeah, we don't know what we would do if something like that happened and we would all freak out or whatever. But then, just what I've seen of Dawn Wells, it's like, are you just using that as an excuse because you publicly showed everybody, your addictions and stuff? So did he use Summer as an excuse to keep doing his dumb shit? Okay. So she feels like Summer was being, I'll play it one more time.
that way, but then I would get creeped out and wash all the bed sheets. So the lice scare is a real thing. In this particular instance with Summer, I get this a little bit differently. I see immediately with the shaving of the head, power and control. She was being prepared for something. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's say you have a child, this is hypothetical. Let's say you have a child and you do a lot of drugs. Drugs where you smoke and light a pipe, right? So your mind, you got a room full of people, you got a house full of people, you kind of float off because you're really high, so you get out of your energy field. You're not focused on what's around you, you're just enjoying the high. It feels euphoric. So you're choosing not to see why your child is being prepared. You're choosing to not see it because it's triggering something in you that you haven't worked out. So you turn around and you don't look. You deliberately don't look. Summer's hair, from what I'm feeling, was shaved in order to teach her a lesson. She spoke out about something. There was a speaking out of something. So her head got shaved.
That's kind of interesting. And we can look at that in so many different I agree with Sloan Bella. This case is like an onion and it's still being peeled. Still being peeled. So much. So what she feels is that people were in the house, they were partying, and possibly lice for sure, and someone did it, and Candace just didn't pay any attention to it. What would she have been being prepared for? There are so many reasons why you would shave a child's head. Even if we had the answer, I don't know. I think she had lice. There's no doubt in my mind. I really believe she had lice. But this is just really weird. No. I think I honestly think that, I mean, she had to have looked at least to the base of the story for sure. So
The lice is a good story and it could be possibly part of that, but that's not what I'm getting. So, but again, all kids are said to have lice. Like all of y'all probably had somebody call and say, so-and-so has bugs, shave your kid's head.
yeah.
Just a thing that goes around sandboxes, playgrounds, etc. But this was different with Summer, and she was being prepared. The wording that I heard, and I've tried to do this video, I always say this, but I really did try to do this video 3 times. Kept getting interrupted. But the wording that I heard, okay, was an elite deacon. I went back to the month of March. So in the month of March, April, Easter, this is being thought about since that time frame. This is something that's been working in motion, in conjunction. This is something that has also been going on.
This is interesting. Yeah, the base of the story. I think anybody who has really talked about Summer's case has, tried to get the basics on mom, dad, grandma behavior, different things like that. This is interesting that she's saying it goes back to Easter. Easter. There were a lot of things going on at Easter time. At Easter time, right? So, absolutely. That is one thing that piqued my interest also. What it was around Easter time, which she, when allegedly this happened. Now, we've looked at a lot of the deacons in the church. There's a fascinating story about one. I got it wrote down. I will try to find it where I can't remember exactly who the YouTuber was that did it, but they actually pulled up one of the deacons from the church that Dawn and Candace went to, and he had a pretty interesting background, I'll say. So I've got that wrote down. That is another thing we will get pulled up for sure. Who are you looking for, Mrs. T? Oh, no, you're fine, honey. You're fine. I was just interested. Chris M. was on whose panel? I don't ever remember watching her Pink Lotus. I don't remember watching her.
On in Summer's family between her and her siblings. Again, I'm not going to say it graphically, but there's
Okay, hold on. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Trigger warning, y'all. No, I'm not talking. No, well, I'm not talking about her today, though, Pink Lotus. I'll try to look into it. I'm trying to get through the Sloan Bella one right now, doll.
and I heard, and I've tried to do this video, I always say this, but I really did try to do this video 3 times. Kept getting interrupted. But the wording that I heard, okay, was an elite deacon. I went back to the month of March. So in the month of March, April, Easter, this is being thought about since that time frame. This is something that's been working in motion, in conjunction. This is something that has also been going on in Summer's family between her and her siblings. Again, I'm not going to say it graphically, but there's...
Okay, you guys get what she's saying right here. Something, and I kept saying this over and over. I kept saying this, that it's like within a certain time frame, the family fell apart. Not that there wasn't dysfunction and DV and all of that. Something happened. When did, let's see, Don had been going to that church for a while, hadn't he? We've got the picture that Lip shared with us of Summer and her friend in church on Easter. Summer's head was shaved. They both had the same dress on, I think. It was really cute. What else was going on around that time? When we heard Dr. Phil say that he believed Candace knew something that, like maybe there was something weird going on or something off and somebody was looking at him strange somewhere, something that she just wasn't thinking about, or coming across somebody that, maybe she only came across them one time and she's just not thinking back to all the times when, maybe something weird was going on around her that she turned a blind eye to, or that in her mind it wasn't a big deal. She's overlooking a lot of things, right?
There's dysfunction within the family unit. Now, keep in mind, if one kid slaps another kid, it's usually because somebody's slapping one of the kids. If one kid abuses a kid, punches them, stomps on them, sexually abuses them, it's because somebody's abusing that kid, and it gets handed on down. In this particular family, I feel the dysfunction comes from both sides. Neither side, mother or father's side, was hearing what was going on. It is not their fault, though, because I don't feel they're the ones that orchestrated this. I feel that there is a connection in a different way, and I feel that there is a theological or religious aspect to this. So in other words, somebody from that group of people, which comes from the father's side of the family, meaning the father's energy, not his side, what the father does in his life, the father's energy, it's connected like this. The church was watching, I really get that. So it's
That's interesting, right? Supposedly Dawn pushed Candace and hurt her back. I think that was 911 call with Summer in the background. That was the Jose call, right? Exploited. That was the Jose phone call, wasn't it? I don't know. There was quite a few 911 calls. Candace called law enforcement, said Dawn pushed her into the washer or something like that, and she hurt her finger or her thumb. I don't know. Law enforcement, there was quite a few calls up there. So absolutely. I mean, nobody's saying there wasn't a DV up there for sure. I doubt that. Dress your words up, please, y'all. Please, ma'am. Thank you. I don't think. I mean, I think she had been taking those for a while, though, exploited. I think that that's something that she probably had never quit taking in her life. But I don't know either. I know for a fact that she absolutely liked the drink, and at one time she had a math problem. They say grandma went and got her throughout that time period and took her back to Arkansas. And that's when she met Dawn throughout that time, right? I don't know. I don't think it was that. When I think about someone having a problem with something, I see Dawn. I see Dawn. See, that's so hard because the addictions are there. They all told us and showed us basically that, their addictions were real addictions. They both allegedly went to rehab and didn't stay. And then Don stood in front of a rehab facility and had him take a video where he's thanking Candace and all this other shit. He never went in. From my understanding. How messed up is that? Hey, y'all, I'm going to rehab. I want to thank my wife. We gonna be good when I get out of rehab. Some shit like that. But he didn't make it very long. And from what I hear, Candace didn't either. So, it's the one everyone listened to. Oh, yeah, I know which one you're talking about, Exploited. I know which one you're talking about. I think the addictions were always there. You know.
Ended on down. Okay. Again, the word elite deacon. I don't know what or who the deacon is. Then I get 3 men. There are 3 men. I want to put the person in the church. I want to say a grandfather figure, but not a biological grandfather. So this is somebody in the neighborhood that people look up to as a grandfather type of figure. I also want to say that there is a connection to the oldest male sibling of Summers. And the connection is to another boy who would be within proximity of age. That could be within 5 to 10 years of the older sibling's age. So a kid, but maybe an early adult. So I want to say the connection goes like that for me. Now I'm looking around the energy of Summer and I'm having a hard time figuring out where she is. I do know that she left the house willingly. She skipped around the side. She skipped around the side and she skipped over. I can see her talking to somebody and I can see her grabbing a bucket, and I don't know what the bucket's for. I can see her grabbing a bucket. So it's like if I said to you, let's grab the bucket and go feed the dogs. Let's feed the horses. Let's feed the chickens, whatever. I see her grabbing a bucket. Now it's interesting because
And think about it like this. What if somebody said, hey, Summer, grab that bucket. Let's go see if we can catch some frogs. Right? Could that be possible? Yes. And this is something I've always said too. And this is just my opinion. Wouldn't it have been easier for someone to get her to walk off that property with them? They talk about throwing her over their shoulder and, boot scooting boogieing it down the side of the hill. And I don't see that. Wouldn't it just be as easy to say, hey, Summer, let's go catch some frogs. You want to go over and maybe get some tadpoles or something like that? I think that's why law enforcement felt that she walked off that hill. And I have to think so too.
all of her siblings turned a blind eye to her leaving. The grandmother and mother turned a blind eye, as in it just wasn't thought of at the time. And that's very easy to get immersed in your own stuff, not pay attention. I've done it many times myself when my kids were little. So there's this feeling of like nobody's paying attention as the energy is surrounding Summer. She was coveted for a reason. So there's a covetingness of Summer, and I am hearing that they're going to try to make it one person's fault, but it isn't. There's three of them connected to it. And it was specific. It was planned out. She was prepped with her head being shaved. That does not mean the person who shaved her head knew anything about this. It's more of an energetic thing. So I want kind of to do this. This is a very interesting case. I want to kind of explain that when an energy comes into a person's energy or etheric body. So if I throw my energy over onto somebody, if their intention is stronger,
My oldest daughter, Camilla,
Okay.
2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery.
That's
All of a
what I
sudden, she's on
get
5 different
because I'm
medications.
always
GoodRx can save you a
researching
lot of money.
stuff.
So
I
it
apologize.
And it's gathering steam from behind the scenes, it can cause a lot of damage to the person. It can cause a lot of damage. In this case, Summer was being set up and prepared for this. She was prepared. The camera's going crazy again. She was prepared for this. I'm literally trying not to move so it doesn't do that, but it's doing it. She was prepared for this. Her hair was shaved for this reason. She was in the process of being prepared. She was laid down on something. This wasn't really an accident. This was a thought out plan to grab this child. Definitely abducted. I do feel like the oldest boy sibling, and I don't know those kids' names, understands or thinks he knows what happened, not because he saw it, but because he knows it. Like he's thinking about it and it's thinking. So I do feel that. I don't feel like she was struggled out of her house. I don't feel like anybody put a bag over her head and took her away. But what I do see is that after she was taken, something was put over her face to make her sleep. I do see that. So when I'm looking at her energy, this is a child that was willing to go without thought. She's 5, okay? She's 5. She's playing in her house. This shouldn't be happening. This should not be happening. The city is blocking something. So the people in the neighborhood are blocking something. Obviously not all of them, but there is a block to what's going on until the energy clears. This
Okay. This makes sense. This makes sense. And I'm just going to say, you guys, a lot of times you have to take someone who's reading energies and different things like that. It's not necessarily that you have to say, oh, I believe what she's saying. You have to, and that's the only reason I'm playing this again, because I played it a couple times. The more if I go back and I haven't looked at something for a while, I can kind of see it, in a different way. So it's not necessarily that you have to say, I like her, I don't like her, I believe her, I don't believe her. That's not what we're doing here. We're listening to what someone's saying and trying to see if it fits anywhere. What we've done all this time since Summer has been missing, what have we been doing? What have we had to waste our time doing with Summer's case? That nobody should have to be doing this. We have spent a lot of time trying to make sense of what? Nonsense. Look how much time we've all spent trying to make sense of nonsense. A lot. Sent you to who, Rita? What? Okay, you've heard it? Oh, John Davis sent you over there. Oh, cool. That's cool, Rita. It took me a minute to see exactly what you were saying. All right, you guys, I'm going to tell you what. You guys want to keep going for a little while, or do you want to stop? I'm going to leave it up to you. Because I am good right now to go a little bit more. But I'll leave it up to you, because we can do a part 2. We can do a part 2 if you want. I just don't want to waste you guys' time, Could Dawn have hid Summer away with family? The weird thing about that is, Little Deb, is Dawn kept saying that he knew something was going to happen on Candace's watch. Right? Girl, you ain't got to hide in the bushes, Rita. Yeah, I like John and Brandy. Well, this is the thing. I think that if you listen to one psychic, I just never felt that was right. So I listened to quite a few to see what they had to say. Now, Sloan Bella is the one I keep going back to. Let me tell you guys something. I heard a psychic saying that Summer was in the car, Summer was sick, Candace made her go out and get the boys, and that and I'll say trigger warning, this is what she said. The boys had Summer and was trying to take her downstairs, and they freaking dropped her down the stairs, is what this woman said. And I was like, no, ma'am. Thank you, Zena. I appreciate you, Zena. I do, girl. Zena gifted 5 memberships. Okay, so I am going to finish this. And then what I'll do is tomorrow, I'm going to start pulling up what I have on all these questions we have. So far I want to look around the Easter time. David Dodson, I got. Oh, shit. I dropped my paper. Dropped my paper. Got to pick it up. Yeah, that is cool. Thank you so much, Zena. Oh, yes. Okay. I'm going to tell you guys what I might do. I don't think I can do it tonight. But boy, it is exciting. Well, I know where to. The thing about it is, Debbie, I know where to find everything I'm looking for. Everything that I've wrote down, I know where to go to find it. So I shouldn't be that busy just pulling up where I found it. I will do that, Diamonds. Thank you so much. Here we go.
This is something else. It's like if you draw a circle around a child, let's just say, if you draw a circle around a kid, like you're playing some kind of game and you put the kid in the middle, and you set a ring of fire around the circle. So on the outside, you dig a trench and you set the fire around there, and the fire rises up really, really strong. The child can't get out of the circle. Look at the fire as energy and people's intent. Look at it as prayer and intent of focus, and look at the child not being able to get out of it. So until that energy has been backed down, the information about where Summer is going to become very convoluted. It's going in different directions. You will not hear about it for a while. I do feel they know what happened to her. Somebody knows what happened to her, and I'm not talking about in the family, I'm talking about in law enforcement. There's a feeling of like, we know what happened to this little girl. And I do feel that's going to come out sometime around mid-August, like the 18th. But then I'm jumping into the Christmas season again, and I'm not understanding what's going on. I'm hearing denials. I'm hearing people talking. There's some sort of a woman stepping up defending what appears to be like her son, and it's not Summer's mother. It's
Okay, so thank you, Debbie. I will pin that, girl. All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go get me a ginger ale. And Lordy, there's 44 people in here. Can somebody give me a thumbs up beside myself? I'm just saying. Jeezy Weezy. Why y'all being stingy today? You being stingy on the thumbs up? Oh, H. Davis ain't in here to ride your guys' butt. This reading was done on July 3rd. July 3rd. Before the boys were even taken. Oh, did you, Lippy? Thank you, Lippy. What are you doing, Lippy? How are you, Lippy? Okay. All right. Let me get my ginger ale. I'll be right back. Just be nice to each other. Oh, I'm only showing 2. Oh, thank you, guys. I'm sorry I yelled at you. I take it back. I take it back. I'm sorry. Don't be mad. Lippy's working and listening. All right. Give me 1 second, you guys. Okay, I'm back. You got a good fight going, Debbie? Diamonds, why you kicking people? You are the YouTube Homeland Security, YouTube Homeland Security, watch out, it's Diamonds. She's kicking people in the leg. Okay. So that, this is the thing about Bella. You don't have to believe what she's saying, but if you look at some of what she's saying, just try to, in some way, think about it, and you decide if there's anything that you can put together that may make any of it any sense. There were people that, and I believe Carl was one from Enchanted Life Path, that talked about like the ritualistic aspect of it, and he got into it. It's very interesting. I don't know exactly where it's at, but Carl talks about the ritualistic aspect, the date, the moon, and all that stuff. So, yeah, no doubt, Debbie. You got to video her. You have to FaceTime me so I can talk to her too. For real. I just bought some, sending an email. I need some snacks. For real. I'm gonna have to go to the store tonight. I ate all my snacks. But I have to. I'm trying to gain weight. It's really weird, but I'm trying to put on some weight. So I need to get my weight up. I barely was 100 pounds when I got sick. So you better believe I want a lot of pizza. I have drank it. Yeah, I've been eating a lot of protein. I've been eating a lot of fruits. I I've been eating good. I haven't been really eating bad. I do have a muscle milk in there. Actually, I might grab me one of those. Hold on, I'm going to grab me a muscle milk. There we go. The muscle milk. I had some of these. Called Malta. I don't want to put on too much weight. For real. Oh, I will. Thank you, Exploited. Yeah, absolutely, Rita. Let me pin that. That's what it's all about. Justice for summer. But the elite deacon situation kind of stood out to me. It's on, you can go to my Amazon wish list, and it doesn't have to be on the list. I have it set up that anybody can order anything and have it sent to my house. So it doesn't have to be on the list. Lust to Lurk had me do that a while back. So I never know what to put on the list anyway. I never know what to put on the list. I mean, heck, I seen people with Amazon wish lists that had flipping like $1,400 and $1,500 cameras. Just the chocolate. I've only ever drank the chocolate. I don't know, Diamonds. I would have to go get it. I will add it. I will add it. As a matter of fact, I'll write it down so I don't forget. I need to add my link to my wish list. And I need to add the link to my Cash App and my Venmo in my description. So I'll get that link put over in my channel description. It did me to Elite Deacon. You just learned how to email yesterday, Rita? That is so cool. But yes, the Elite Deacon part stood out to me. Like I said, I'll definitely get that pulled up where it's talked about one of the, I guess you would call him some sort of deacon for the church, for the SDA church. His background wasn't that. This is a thing, though. This is a thing. When around Easter, was that the time that Marlena said they brought Journey back? No, okay, I'm getting mixed up. Well, honey, okay.
Child can't get out of the circle. Look at the fire as energy and people's intent. Look at it as prayer and intent of focus, and look at the child not being able to get out of it. So until that energy has been backed down, the information about where Summer is going to become very convoluted. It's going in different directions. You will not hear about it for a while. I do feel they know what happened to her. Somebody knows what happened to her, and I'm not talking about in the family, I'm talking about in law enforcement. There's a feeling of like, we know what happened to this little girl. And I do feel that's going to come out sometime around mid-August, like the 18th. But then I'm jumping into the Christmas season again, and I'm not understanding what's going on. I'm hearing denials. I'm hearing people talking.
Now, when she said around the 18th, she didn't give a year on that. She did not specify a year when she talked like around August 18th. And then jumping to Christmas. She doesn't say what year she's actually seeing that's going to give us an idea when something may come out. Now, the thing about it is, I do think that law enforcement does maybe have a feeling of what possibly happened to Summer, but they're not going to come out and talk with anyone on social media about it until they have the facts that can bring whatever happened to her, the individual or individuals to justice. A visit to DNC Church from the husband and wife. What? The time frame of a visit to Dawn and Candace's church from the husband and wife. Can you kind of go into that a little bit more, Exploited? Because I'm not, maybe I'm slow today. I'm not. A husband and a wife was in a study session. I don't get it.
There's some sort of a woman stepping up defending what appears to be like her son, and it's not Summer's mother, it's somebody else's mother with blonde, kind of wavy, and not blonde like my hair, natural blonde hair, or like sun-kissed hair.
What does this sound like? This kind of freaked me out. From a husband and wife team, 2 people came to the church to give a study session. I would have to go back and look and see. Rita.
Brown hair with like highlights from the sun, kind of a red face, so a little bit Irish looking woman. And I'm seeing her, kind of a sunburnt face. I'm seeing her, and she's yelling at people for thinking that it's her family member. And this to me feels like a child. So she's defending a child over here. This I see, it's very strange. So I split on it and I go in 3 different directions. I'm going to say it again. Elite deacon, grandfather figure, oldest sibling, male acquaintance of older sibling is how I want to word that. Not known to the older sibling, like none of this was discussed. He has nothing to do with it, but the levels of deception in this family are interesting, and both parents vibrate a little bit differently. They vibrate in opposition to each other, so it's really hard to get concise conversation. The mother, there is an unwillingness to see certain things. So maybe I befriend you, maybe I flirt with you, maybe you're 20, maybe you're 25, maybe you're 19, I don't know, whatever it is. I flirt with you, I'm high, I smoke this pipe, whatever's in the pipe, I don't know, but I light it with when I see it in my head, I light it with a cigarette lighter, and then the eyes glow and the room goes dark, and it's like fire, so it makes the brain go fire. And
now, this was done on July 3rd. Summer went missing on June 15th. This is what she says, and I'm going to play it again. So, like she said, and I'm going to write it down just so we can kind of go down the line and talk about these different things. So we got elite deacon, grandfather figure. Who would have been a grandfather figure to Summer? Who in that area, or who would have been a grandfather figure to Summer? And then she said the oldest sibling's friend. Now, don't forget with that, let's see, and I don't want to say his name. We're not going to, say any children's names or anything in here. He was 12 at the time, right? 12 to 13. And she said that the friend was anywhere from, could have been 5 to 10 years. That's kind of a big number, 5 years. That would have put someone at being 17 to 22, 23 in that age group. That's very interesting, right? Yeah, David Dodson. But the thing about it is, Tim Mullins, we don't have any proof that he was around Summer before she went missing, unless he was affiliated with the church and had been actually to the church, right? David Dotson, that guy stands out to me only because he showed up at the church within a very short window of time before Summer went missing. And then guess what? He didn't stay around after Summer went missing. Make that make sense? He met someone. So he meets somebody, gets married very quickly, and starts going to a total different affiliation of church, right? I truly, this is just me, Diamonds. I do not believe that Don's boss had anything to do with any of it. But we kind of don't know, right? So he did a video at the church. Well, I remember him saying that he met Robin when she was selling bread that they made. No, Summer didn't like him at all. Let me see if I'll see if I can find that real quick and show you guys. I'm trying to remember the create. I think it was Zab Girl. Right here. Let me find. I got it right here. I'm gonna show you guys. We'll look at it. Let me find it. Da 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 da. I want to find the right one. Okay, I got it right here. I've got it right here. Just, I'm weird. I want to find the right one because it shows him waving to her. And here he is. Here he is. And why is the person putting this on camera? Why look at the angle. This is, oh shit, sorry. I'm sorry. Let me show you. This is Summer right here. And that's Robin. And then that's David Dodson. Now, I don't know. Let me see if it shows. I think it's just a picture. Yeah, it's just a picture. But why? Why would somebody specifically... Hey, Andrew. Why would somebody specifically take a video of this? Make me understand that. I never liked this when I seen it. And they're at the back of the church. They're at the back of the church. I don't know. Something that was always weird to me. For sure. All right, let's get Sloan Bella done here. I bet they do. Oh, shit. I'm sorry, you guys. I am laughing about something you guys can't even hear. I apologize. I apologize. I really do.
The
Hey,
older
Terry.
sibling, like none of this was discussed. He has nothing to do with it. But the levels of deception in this family are interesting, and both parents vibrate a little bit differently. They vibrate in opposition to each other, so it's really hard to get concise conversation.
Now, listen to what she says.
The mother...
Listen.
There is an unwillingness to see certain things. So maybe I befriend you, maybe I flirt with you, maybe you're 20, maybe you're 25, maybe you're 19, I don't know, whatever it is. I flirt with you, I'm high, I smoke this pipe, whatever's in the pipe, I don't know, but I light it with a... When I see it in my head, I light it with a cigarette lighter, and then the eyes glow and the room goes dark, and it's like fire, so it makes the brain go fire, and I don't know what that is. But I see that. So let's say the mom, you know, she hanging out with some people that maybe aren't her age or whatever, due to whatever reason that is, and she invites them into the environment. So there's an environment around her children.
This is one of the things that I think we all have figured out. The environment, right, says a lot. And I do feel that, and this is just my opinion, there were things going on that hill that shouldn't have been going on with the children anywhere near there. For sure. I mean, you guys, we had a female, I'm not even going to say her name, come on social media and admit that she slept with Don Wells one time. What is okay with that? Nobody cared that Don slept with the woman. The problem was he did it in his house, allegedly with his children in the same room. That's what got me. All right. Thank you, Terry. Hope you feel better. I've always felt it's weird that there were so many videos looking like they were focused. Yes, exploited. I understand that completely.
due to her own actions. And this goes for the father too. People that are doing the drinking and drugging around the kids invite different people who maybe don't have your kid's best interests at heart, or they open the door for somebody who's looking for a target. And that's what I feel Summer was. I feel she was being prepared. But it's interesting because it goes to the mother's side of the family, meaning the lineage, the history of the ancestors of the mother's side of the family are energetically what that family is trying to break free of, and they keep trying to do it, and then there's a counterbalance which removes family members from that side of the family. So there's like
See, isn't that weird? So, I mean, I'm going to rewind that and let her say that. We're almost done with this, you guys. I just want to hear her say that again because, you know, I kind of want to understand that a little bit more.
But it's interesting because it goes to the mother's side of the family, meaning the lineage, the history of the ancestors of the mother's side of the family are energetically what that family is trying to break free of, and they keep.
So, generationally, the energy, the family, every time the family tries to break free of the energy, energetically, when the family tries to break free of the behaviors that happened over generations of the dysfunction, something happens. So something happened with Rose, and then something happened with Summer. It's just interesting.
That were brought into this marriage and then brought into these kids, and now the kid is missing. That's no one's fault. None of us have a manual on how to live this life, but it's interesting because that's almost, I would use the word like a generational curse. I'm very hesitant to use the word curse because I don't actually believe you can throw curses per se the way it's described, but I want to say this is an ancestral kind of a X marks the spot on. I want to say this is like a generational, ancestral belief system that this family has been trying to shed for years, as in change the dynamic. And every time they change it or go against it, it feels like somebody is removed from the family. And it's very interesting because when I look at the mother's side of the family, and I believe it was her sister that was never found, they don't know where the sister went, it's the same cycle being repeated. That's what it is, but it goes back generations before either one of those girls were born and before Summer was born. And
I wonder, looking back, I don't know Candace's family tree or anything like that, but she's talking about like great grandma and grandpa, you know, great grandma and grandpa, within that family over generations. If maybe someone else had come up missing, but with it being so many decades ago or whatever, if they just don't know about it. If it happened before so long ago that it was never really talked about in the family, maybe that has happened and they just don't know about it. Allegedly grandma came back recently before Summer's disappearance. They did, but you know, the thing is exploited. Grandma Candy was there. She was there. she had to have helped in some ways because Candace did not want her leaving. So, right?
And it's the father's side of the family has a different kind of dysfunction. And that's a belief system, and the two clash, and it's that energy that's making the circle around Summer and the fire around Summer, and it raises up and it holds her in. So this is a little bit different than what it's being presented as. But again, I see three people. The day she disappeared, I see her going up to somebody, and it seems to me to be a lighter colored truck that's like a handyman truck. So somebody with a ladder or paint buckets.
She's saying it's a lighter colored truck. Is exactly what she just said, a lighter colored truck. We were always led to a red vehicle, a red truck. She's saying lighter colored.
Or hammers and tools or wood or, stuff like that in the back of this truck. So it's like a Toyota something. It's not a huge truck. It's like a Toyota whatever truck, but it feels like that. That's a lighter colored truck. That's just how I'm seeing it. When I look and I ask about Summer's energy, I'm feeling another weird thing I'm going to say. They tried to keep Summer like you would keep a pet, to feed her, to keep her connected. But I'm almost feeling when they find her or understand what happened to her, there's been a mass cover-up. Everybody's scrambling to distance themselves, to get away, to remove things, to take off, to hide it, to not be caught. This to me feels a little bit like the child transitioned, but I'm not feeling from Summer on the other side. So I'm not feeling that, but I'm not going to allow myself.
Now that was, you got to remember, this was July 3rd of 2021. So she does not allow herself to feel really if a child has transitioned or not. It's interesting that she states that, she feels like that possibly she could be kept as a pet, and I'll say trigger warning. Anytime you go back and you look at a lot of trafficking, there was a case that I talked about, Daniel Callahan. He unalived a mother and her young daughter, and he kept the oldest daughter to use as a sex slave. Well, the area where they found this little girl was at a residence, basically, where they had kept cages for trafficking. They do put, and I'll say trigger warning, they do put these children sometimes in cages. They absolutely do. So
To feel it. So I shut that down, but this is how it's sounding to me as I'm saying it. I feel like this little girl literally was targeted. She happily went out of her house. Nothing scared her. So she knows this person. Nothing scared her. She wasn't kidnapped by, scary guy in the bushes, scary guy in the truck, rape van. It's not that. This is somebody. The person, they came by Summer in what I want to say is like a Toyota truck. The person they came by Summer and picked her up, talked to her, was sent by someone else who was older. So like an errand boy, a runner, a person that does errands for you, your handyman helper, works with his dad, carpenter, handyman, something along these lines, fixing houses, painting, but I get paint buckets. So that could be somebody who's a painter in the local town, or they were just fixing up something in their house and carrying stuff. I mean, we've all done that too. but I do feel this. The person in the truck was younger. I'm seeing older, somebody, let's just say somebody in their 60s, church deacon. I don't know what a deacon means exactly. I don't know what church that belongs to, but church deacon. Grandfather figure, who I take to be older. We'll just put them as a grandfather age, say 70. I mean, you can be a grandfather at 50, we know this, but I'm going to put them at the traditional grandfather age in their 70s, and then I'm going to put somebody about the age of 17 through 23. I feel all three of these men are Caucasian, and I feel like Summer knowingly knew the person. So this is somebody who betrayed another person who knew them. This is a betrayal for some, but there's a reason for it. Like, there's a reason. It's like, I'm getting back at you. This is a betrayal of some kind. This is a betrayal to Summer. It's I'm getting even with you. So that is my quick video on Summer Wells, the missing 5-year-old from Rogers, Tennessee. And the only thing I could say is to pray to elevate the energy so that Summer is found, wherever she's found, and that she is found and the people are held accountable. But what I'm hearing is that there's a timing in this and there's a reason for this. So the timing of this has a lot to do with other circumstances. I do feel something's going to come up in August, though, like around the middle of August, but around the 18th is what I'm hearing. I do feel something will be revealed at that time. Somebody be chased down. I feel like it's starting to happen right now. I'm sure it is behind the scenes, but then I'm also seeing the counterbalance to that that's causing the chaos and blocking the information from coming out. So it seems like the energy is going like this, back and forth, so you can't really go around it yet. So it's like a tug of war with the energy. I can tell you this. Summer is protected. She's in the light, as in I see her illuminated around. I see her illuminated. Whatever is going on with the energy of Summer, she is protected. Okay, so even if the circumstances are that she transitioned out of here, which again, I'm not going to answer. I think you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to talk around it. But anyway, if that were the circumstances, I feel that she is protected and she is being watched. There is an element of that. She really liked flowers. Like, she was very interested. So the gardening's very interesting because she really did like gardening, and she likes flowers. And she liked these little boots that she wore and these little shorts that she wore with these little boots, so she could go down and play in the muck is what I.
The boots. The boots. Yeah, some people think that, Terry. Yep, it's been happening 4 years, Debbie. Absolutely. Absolutely. Not all traffickers put the people in cages, but that is something that does absolutely happen. Absolutely happen. If her head was shaved for, any ritualistic stuff, that could mean a rite of purification, transitioning into a new phase of life. That's really weird. Wow. Transition and auspiciousness. The ritual can mark a child's transition into a new phase of life, such as entering primary education, or can simply be seen as a mark of auspiciousness. Wow. I think she just had lice. For real. cleanliness, hygiene. Better hair growth. It can mean so many different things. All right, I got about 15 minutes. I will drop the link. Yeah, I do too, Xena. I do too. I think at some point they had lice. But Dawn said, Dawn and Candace said in the interview with WJHL that she had shaved it. She got a hold of the clippers and had started to shave it herself. And then because the boys had theirs done, right? So, yeah, that's the sad thing. It's always just another theory, right? Just another theory. Yes, ma'am. Hello?
Okay. I was having technical difficulties.
Yeah, I seen that.
I think I got it right now. I'm on my tablet. Are you there?
Which, yeah. Which video, Diamonds,
hang on,
do you
hang on.
want? Oh, the video. Okay,
I
let me
must
pull
have
that up.
the volume. Oh, this is as loud as it goes.
No, you're fine. I can hear you.
Oh, there we go.
Fine.
Hang on. I gotta
Drop the
turn
link.
other
Drop
one
the link to me, Diamonds, real quick, so I can just pop over to it, ma'am. Diamonds did a video she'd want me to watch. While we're at it, there's a case that I'm going to be talking about. It's the
I
Malia
can't
Davis
hear on
case.
this device. I'll go and get my other one.
Okay. The Malia Davis case out of, I believe, Houston, Texas. I'm going to be talking about that case. So, this property from 110 that David Dotson and Don Wells had taken, and they did it on February 4th. The weird thing about it, I couldn't understand why they didn't do it around the same time that Summer went missing. She went missing in 2021. Why did they wait till February 4th, 2023? So this is about 5 minutes. So I have this, it's going to be on mute and it's just going to show the area. So I don't know what happened to Terry. Maybe her device is messed up or something. I don't know. This is David Dotson doing this, right, Xena? And look at that area. I unmuted it so you could hear what they say.
To really search the grounds below the house.
Look at that.
On the steep ledge behind the house, between house and Beach Creek.
But why are you doing it behind the house? Is that so they considered behind the house where the basement door was, right?
It's pretty steep, but digging through every possible leaf.
Why are you doing that now? Why are you waiting all that time later to do a video, right? I don't understand. Why would you wait almost 2 years to put out a video like this?
Vlog.
You think it's Tim?
Anything.
What's up, Andrew?
Just come in to see how you're doing today.
I'm good.
See, Beech
I am
Creek.
good.
I mean, that don't look
It's
too
right there.
bad. I've been in denser woods, so.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but and I guess, if it was around the same season that
Yeah.
summer went missing and the foliage was greener and things like that, you might have a little better traction going down the
No,
hill.
not really. Them leaves, once they've been sitting there and they get wet and shit, they
Yeah,
stay wet. So I mean, it's still a
right.
slippery slope. So
Uh, I saw a female. Oh, you talking about Molly Golightly?
yeah, fuck her.
Molly, no, she didn't get up there very far. She didn't get up there far. I could probably find it. Now, I'm sure that, the creek, Jody said the tree trimmers actually had dammed that up a little bit. And it allegedly rained a couple days before that, right? So, Terry, your devices are not connected. They're not connecting. Um, so I don't get it. Why wouldn't you try to go out around the same time frame, when the foliage, it's never going to be the same. All foliage is going to be different, all the time. But
Yeah.
why are you trying to look under a bunch of leaves? That never made any sense to me. Never made any sense to me. Now, I'm
No.
glad they did it because it does show us, the area up close. But I don't think the creek was up that high or anything. Now, Jody, Candace said that, Jody absolutely didn't even have her feet wet. And I don't know if I believe that or not, because there had to have been some water in that little creek, you know. Yeah, people do learn how to walk up and down the hills for sure. For sure. They allowed her to do the whole property? Oh, you talking about Allie? Well, because it's in a mountain, Deb. That's why.
That don't look too bad.
Yeah, Terry, you're still not connecting. Uh, yeah, I
Wait.
mean, but you have to understand, it's one thing if she's walking around places that she already knew without any shoes on, but there's no way she could have kept walking around all those areas without any shoes on. It would have slowed her down. It would have had to have slowed her down. That's why it's interesting with Sloan Bella mentioning the boots. I've never forgot that. She's the only person who's ever even mentioned the possibility the summer had on a pair of boots or anything. So that was interesting when she said that for sure. For sure, for sure. So, all right, Andrew. Oh, wait.
Oh, I'm here.
No, Terry's wanting to come up, but she's having technical
Uh
difficulties.
oh, that happens.
Terry, try to come back next time because I'm not going to stay on here. I was just waiting for that to play out. Anyway, that was the area that that Tim Mullins and Don did, for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say that don't look too bad.
Right.
I mean, but either way you look at it, it's not really an easy walk. But outside of that, I mean, it's doable.
Well, I mean, it just seems more practical to me. And there's the picture of Summer in church with oh nasty. That's evil.
I will, honey. I just
All right,
gotta fix
sweetie.
the notifications. It's probably
Yeah,
fine.
I'll definitely try to catch you next time you're live for sure.
All right, later,
For
honey.
sure, for sure. All right, later. Terry, you want to talk to Andrew about that stuff? Go over to his channel and he can talk to you about it all you want, for real. I haven't been covering it over here. Andrew can handle his own, so please feel free to go to Andrew's and give him a holler about that stuff. Thank you guys for talking about summer today. So interesting. I love what everybody has to say. You guys' input is always very important. Zena, thank you so much for gifting the 5 memberships. That means a lot. Always very helpful, ma'am. I just hope that I can keep people, you know, keep people wanting to be members. I try. I'm just me. I'm not perfect, but for real. Thank you, everybody. I do appreciate you. Thank you, mods, for coming in, Poppy. I adore you. You know I do. I know Poppy's working. H. Davis has a lot going on. He's going to be meeting with Matthew Silly AF tomorrow. Oh, I'm so glad for you, H. For real. Good for you, buddy. Thank you guys for coming in, and I appreciate you. I do have my list. I'm going to pull that stuff up, and we will catch it next time. Like I said, you don't have to believe in psychic mediums or energy readers, whatever you want to call them. It's always interesting just to listen and just see if you can, you know, see the situation as they call it and talk about it. It's best to always talk about the stuff, for real. So appreciate you guys. I will catch you later. Have a great day and peace out, you guys.